Alright guys, this is my first time trying anything like this, trying to do a time lapse and show you guys my process. Hopefully it's something that you guys enjoy. If it is, I'm very happy to do more of these. This one's under 5 minutes, it's just to see if it's something that is of value to you guys. And like I said, if it is, then I'm very happy to do more and to do more in-depth, detailed ones that are a bit longer. So when I'm doing paintings, when I'm doing portrait work like this, doing something, trying to get a likeness, trying to make it look like someone, I find it's important to have a fairly accurate line drawing to start with. You want to be able to keep the landmarks all in the right place, from the eyes, the nose, the mouth. It's good to have it so you can put it on and off. It's on a separate layer to the painting layer, so that I can, like I said, turn it on and off to make sure that I'm keeping things in the right place. When I'm painting, I always will start blocking with the shadows first. Reason for that is you can actually tell a person by their shadows, by where the shadows are cast on their face. So it's an important thing to get the shadows in there first, because you'll start seeing a likeness immediately when you are getting the shadows in the right places. So I'll always start with the shadows, build up to some midtones and some highlights, and very quickly you'll start to see the picture coming to life. I paint in grayscale, as you can see. I find it's best to paint in grayscale first, because then your tones are correct. So I will always have the grayscale painting layer, and then over top of that I will make a color layer. The blending option is color. The reason for this is I can then make the colors what I want. I can put the warmth where the warmth belongs on a face. I can get the blue for the eyes and the yellow for the mask. And I put it on a clipping mask. I'm using Procreate, for those of you that don't know, on the iPad, and you can use clipping masks on there. So I use a clipping mask. The color layer is the clipping mask to the layer below it, so that I don't stray off of the painting that I've done, and I can be a little bit quicker and a little bit more free with my colors, and then just put them where I want to. So here I've been filling in the Mads Mikkelsen Hannibal. Again, you can see me working in grayscale. I always put the shadows in. At this point of the picture, I've got a layer that is the line drawings. I've got a separate layer for the Anthony Hopkins Hannibal in the background for his grayscale, and then another layer for his color. And same goes for the guy in the foreground. There's a grayscale, there is a color layer. After this, I've got things roughly right. The tones are looking fairly right. There will be some finishing touches and some details to add. But once everything's right, I can roughly see the colors that I'm going for. I'm going to start playing around a lot with those colors, and making sure that I keep the palette looking similar. So what this is called a limited palette, a limited color palette, which is, for those of you that are painting traditionally, you mix a couple of colors on your palette, and then every color that you add to the painting is been formed out of those original colors. So for example, for this image, I like to make it look like it's a uniform kind of a limited color palette. And so it would be like starting with reds, and then, you know, adding certain colors to those reds to make it all look uniform. I knew what I wanted, and so yeah, now I'm just playing around with colors. Found and lost line is what makes a painting beautiful. So that's knowing when to blend something off into nothing, as opposed to having a hard line or a sharp line to define the form. And that is what gives the variety that your eye looks for in a painting, that some people aren't even aware of it, but their eye is just drawn to that. Another thing is drawing the eye to the important parts of the picture. And I mean, in a portrait of this type, it's fairly obvious where you want the eye to be. You want it to be focused around the eyes of Anthony Hopkins, around that head and around the head area, which is typically where you want most of your paintings to be focused, is around the heads of the people that are the main subject in the frame. Your eye will always settle on the area of the highest contrast, so that's the area with the darkest dark to the lightest light. The silhouettes is where your eye is going to go. So that's why we've got the blank area in the composition going up towards the right from the heads, and then we have black on the bottom right, black on the top left, and the bottom left area is not a lot of detail, just bits of variety in the paint strokes and the colors, just to keep it interesting, but not to draw the eye away from those faces. So here I'm just going to be applying the finishing touches to the picture, making sure that we have found a lost line in the right places, that the eye stays where you want it to stay, that the composition is looking good, and that the colors are all balanced. And yeah, that's pretty much the end of the picture.